we have been having a problem of water.
Tulikuwa tunaenda kilomita 10 kutoka nje na punda. Kuna siku tunapata na kuna siku tunakosa.
Tunashukuru sana kwa hiyo maji. Kwa hiyo mlileta maji. Nashukuru kabisa, Mungu awabariki.
Hi, my name is Catherine Karita, Director in charge of the Britam Foundation, and today we are at Ngengich Primary School in West Pokot. Today we've come to commission a water pump, solar-enabled pump, so that this community, and especially this school where we're in, Ngengich Primary, that will be able to give kids an opportunity to drink clean water, that will be able to give kids an opportunity to stay in school. And we believe strongly water is life. And once we address that issue, we'll be addressing and solving for much more than that.
Ningependa kushukuru sana hii kampuni ya Britam. Imetusaidia sana hasa upande wa maji. Wanafunzi wetu walikuwa wana waste time mingi sana kutafuta maji. Hata wakifika darasani baada ya kutembea sana walikuwa wamechoka, lakini saa hizi hata wataweza kuperform darasani, wataweza kuimprove marks yao kuliko venye imekuwa hapa awali.
Tunasema shukrani sana, Mungu awabariki. Tumeshukuru kama wazazi, kama wazazi wa area, tunasema asante, Mungu awabariki.
Dr. Irene Mwenda, HSC, Principal, Olodo Primary School. I'm happy to be here today, celebrating the day that we have gotten water from Davis and Shatleaf, and backed up by Britam team.
We are at Ololua Primary School. Here at Ololua we have rehabilitated a borehole. We've installed a 9.2 kilowatts borehole motor. We have solarized it with 32 panels of 545 watts each.
The provision of water has really done us so well, because children now can learn how to wash their hands regularly before they eat meals, before and after visiting the toilet. So when they're practicing hygiene, this has been a good deal for us, and we truly appreciate.
Hi everyone, my name is Deborah Nyandusi. I work for the Britam Foundation, and today we are here at St. Veronica Giliani Primary School, and we're here to install a solar-powered pump, which is one of our 21 projects. And by providing sustainable water sources for the kids, this will allow them to be more present in the school, more present in the classrooms, and this will enhance their early childhood education.
We are very grateful to the Britam, to the David and Saplin. We are very grateful to God, who touches their heart and make our dream become true. This is now a good place to learn. It is now a good place to live in.
Today we are here at Olmapina Primary School. Olmapina is in Rombo Zone in Kajiado County, about 50 kilometers from Oloitoktok town. And we have just commissioned a project on a solar pump
to power their access to clean water. So the children in the area now can access clean water in their day-to-day learnings. As the foundation, we are trying to enhance the learning environment for the young learners and trying to help them have the easiest time as possible. And we are grateful to be here. They now have access to very clean water. And so this is a clear testament of enriching lives in Africa.
My name is Siddiq Abdurrahman from Shela Village, Lamu County, Kenya. Today is a great day for us at Shela Primary. We are launching the solar panel pump for the Shela Primary School. It has been donated by Davis and Schultz, partner with the Britam Foundation. We are so grateful for their help, and we are looking forward to work more with them, and it has been a great help to us as a school.
Request that we all rise for the national anthem and the East African anthem. We'll take one stanza each. East African anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. Allow me to kick off by observing necessary protocols. The Britam Board of Directors, represented by Ms. Celestine Munda, Mr. Julius Mbaya, Dr. Hatta Steingel. Did I get it almost? Thank you. The Group Managing Director and CEO, Mr. Tom Gitogo. The Executive Management Team, business partners, the CMA CEO, Mr. Wycliffe Shamaya, IRA Director of Market Conduct, Ms. Anne Chelagat, regulators, government partners, development partners, members of the Fourth Estate, Britam staff members, financial advisors, ESG champions, and guests, including the larger audience tuning into this event virtually throughout the country. All protocols observed. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I like that energy. My name is Eric Moredi, and I am a friend of Britam. I think I'm slowly becoming a titan, an ESG champion, and it's my distinguished delight this morning on behalf of Britam to welcome you. I want to warmly welcome you to this event. This is the second sustainability report event that Britam is having. But first things first, allow me to digress for 1 second and wish a hearty 60th anniversary to the Britam family and community. That deserves an applause. 60. How many 60 are all? Never mind. From my little research, I found that our 60th birthday is also called our Diamond Jubilee Anniversary. So happy Diamond Jubilee Anniversary, Britam. I also found that life at 60 is typically a celebration of 3 things: resilience, wisdom, and possibility. And those 3 things aptly define Britam. Resilience. You know, from 60 years ago, I think I remember when the name was Britac, the name was British America something. You know, resilience over time, but something has remained constant. Britam has had an attitude of excellence from the beginning. I think I saw from the report that in the last 18 years, on the Aki Awards, Britam has been the insurer of the year, right? And third strongest brand in Kenya. Certainly the strongest insurance brand in the country. It talks about resilience. Wisdom, a market leader indeed, and possibility. We are charting new horizons that we didn't imagine when we began. It's a time to shed the limitations of the past and embrace the boundless potential of the future. Each wrinkle and gray hair tells a story of overcoming challenges and adapting to life's ever-changing landscape. Why don't we give a thundering applause to celebrate Britam at 60? I had an activity for doing that, but somebody threatened me and told me, Eric, we don't want to dance, we don't want you to bully us. So because that person is signing my check, let me do the right thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the release of Britam Sustainability Report event. This exhilarating occasion marks the official release of Britam's ESG report covering last year's gains. Today we gather not just to unveil a document, but to highlight a journey of responsibility, sustainability, and impact. As an organization that touches the lives of individuals, families, and businesses across our region, Britam understands that long-term success is not measured by profits alone, but by positive impact that we make on our environment, the strength of our governance, and the value we add to the society. The environmental, social, and governance ESG framework has become a defining lens for responsible businesses. It challenges us to think beyond short-term gains, to consider the legacy we are building, and to take action for a better tomorrow. At 60, Britam is certainly thinking legacy and impact, so that the next 60 years are not just profitable, but very impactful. This report is a testament to Britam's commitment to transparency, ethical leadership, climate responsibility, community engagement, and inclusive growth. It reflects the company's vision to not only be a financial services leader, but also a steward of sustainable development. So today, as we hear the highlights of the ESG journey, the wins, the lessons, and the road ahead, may we be inspired to embrace business with purpose. Thank you for joining us, and welcome once again to this important milestone in Britam's story of impact. Without further ado, as we get into the proper program, I'd like to invite 2 prayers, interdenominational prayers. I'll have a prayer from Fatma Hassan, then Alan Jenga. Let's appreciate Fatma. She comes. She's a sales, recruitment, and training executive.
Good morning. We believe and pray. Kwa jina la Mwenyezi Mungu, mwingi wa rehema, mwenye kurehemu neema ndogo ndogo na neema kubwa. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, tunakushukuru kwa neema zote zako uliotupa asubuhi ya leo. Tunaomba utubariki tukizingatia amri yako ya kuchunga ulimwengu wetu. Ulimwengu ambao umetupa kwa ajili ya kizazi kijayo. Tunaomba utubariki, utuongoze na utujalie radhi zako, utusaidie kwa sababu ya hii heri njema ya mageuzi ya heri ya ulimwengu, ambao ni ulimwengu ya watoto wetu kizazi kijayo. Kwa hayo tunaomba na kuamini kwa jina la Mwenyezi Mungu, mwingi wa rehema, mwenye kurehemu, neema ndogo ndogo na neema kubwa.
Amina. I know you didn't get her Swahili, but at least you can say Amin. Next, I'd like to invite Alan, Head of Procurement, to come and lead us in a Christian prayer.
Praise the Lord. Good morning. My name is Alan Jenga, Head of Procurement. As we pray, we are running a sustainable procurement and supply chain. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, we come before you this morning to thank you and to worship you because you are God. We thank you for the gift of life, sound mind. Give us wisdom, O Lord, as we deliberate and as we listen, O God, to the successes that we have had as Britam. Remind us, O God, to be stewards, to take care of the responsibility that you have given to us, as it is written in the book of Genesis chapter 2, verse 15. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, help us to be fair in our decisions, to be equitable in how we do things. Help us, Heavenly Father, to remain true to our call, to be able to nurture a future for the generations to come. We pray for the success of Britam, and we pray for the success of the sustainability agenda in this group. That's our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Sir Alan, for the prayer. And also thank you for running a sustainable procurement department. That's important. We now want to invite welcome remarks, or opening remarks. And we would like to set the tone and provide, and I can promise you that's not my intro track. So we want to set the tone and provide an overview of the 2024 sustainability achievement. It's now my pleasure to invite the Director Legal and Company Secretary, Madam Hilda Njeru. Please appreciate her as she comes.
I would have loved to ride on the protocols by Eric, but since I have been taught and worked for government, I know that doesn't work. So I have to retake the protocols again. Our regulator, CMA CEO, Mr. Shamia, IRA, Director in charge of Market Conduct and Customer Representation, Madam Ann Chelagat, RBA representatives present, NSC, our board directors representatives, as highlighted by Eric, Ms. Celestine Munda, Mr. Julius Mbaya, and Dr. Hatta von Steigo, who is actually the chairperson of our asset management board. Our associations, AKI, AIBK, FMA, our partners, FSD Africa, FSD Kenya, Nairobi Declaration of Sustainable Insurance, African Nature and Capital Alliance, UN Global Compact, UN Habitat, UN Women, Kenya Forest Service, Kenya Wildlife Service, Upper Hill District Association, who are really our host within this environment, invited and very much valued guests, colleagues from Britam, and like we say in Rotary, friends and family of Britam, good morning. My work was to really set the tone, and I think Eric has done 70% of my work this morning. So my remarks will be on an incremental basis, really. And just to start by saying that it is an absolute joy and pleasure to welcome you to the release of our second sustainability report, our 2024 report. Our theme of shaping a sustainable future together reflects our spirit of collaboration and partnership that defines the ESG journey that we have embarked on. Sustainability is embedded in how we lead, in how we invest, in how we serve, and how we show up for the communities around us. And communities in this case also mean our workplaces, our businesses, our churches, our communities at home, our families. So there is sustainability embedded in all those relationships. Over the past year, and building on the progress we made in the year 2023, we continue to take bold steps to bring sustainability to life across our businesses. And guided by our 5 material topics, we are delivering solutions that meet today's needs and anticipate tomorrow's challenges. We continue to bring to life various SDGs, and in particular, you will notice that SDG 17 on partnerships for the goals is actually an everyday reality where we collaborate with peers and partners across sectors to champion impact-driven initiatives, such as what we have seen on the clip, bringing water to underprivileged societies through the Britam Foundation and the foundation partners, Davis and Shatcliffe, amongst other initiatives and partnerships. Like I said, sustainability starts at home. Through various trainings, sensitization sessions, our colleagues across the organization have taken to heart the environmental stewardship mandate, and many now actually have personalized the environmental restoration targets. They send us their photos, they send us their clips, and we share those with our teams, be it planting and growing trees, be it championing for water conservation initiatives in their own communities, be it spearheading community efforts at protection of endangered flora and fauna. Our contribution to reduction of carbon emissions is underscored by the progressive transition towards renewable energy. In particular, the solar carport at Britam Center is a symbol of this shift, and it saves us about 77 tons of carbon dioxide, reducing energy costs by over 2 million in the process. We have established our emissions baseline for Kenya. We did that over the past year, and now we have laid the groundwork for an ambitious, data-driven carbon reduction roadmap. There are ongoing efforts to establish our baselines across the 6 other countries that we operate in as Britam, and we will continually report on this in subsequent reports. We are also reducing e-waste, cutting plastic use through the reverse osmosis water systems in 11 of our branches, and we are also enabling greener mobility through EV charging stations at Britam Center and at Britam Tower. I believe many of us have seen those and will continue to benefit from them. Our products are designed to reach the people who need them the most. In 2024 alone, ladies and gentlemen, we empowered over 3,400 community agents to distribute more than 15,000 microinsurance policies. These are your shopkeepers, your school teachers, your tailors, your mamambogas in the market, delivering real protection to everyday Kenyans. We are contributing to climate-smart agriculture through our innovative, data-driven insurance products that are enhancing resilience for smallholder farmers. The index-based flood insurance developed in partnership with Swiss Re and Oxfam uses real-time rainfall levels and actually river levels from satellites to trigger automatic payouts when floods thresholds along the Tana River currently are breached, and we saw that last year. This has helped cushion low-income communities and provide protection for food security and livelihoods. We are now moving actively towards adaptive farming protection, where together with our partners and the Met Department, we can actually predict rainfall levels and then offer farmers cover from climate shocks such as drought before crop failure. Additionally, through our Lea Mama initiative and Lea Salama, we supported over 1,200 uninsured women access telehealth, mental health support, financial education, maternal and child health care, and this in particular is our contribution towards empowering lives and well-beings of those at their most vulnerable moments. These are just but examples of how we strengthen underprivileged economies and uplift vulnerable communities in line with our sustainability strategy. Walking the talk on ethics and leadership is not an easy journey, but it's one that we are very deliberate and intentional about. ESG begins at the top. Our efforts on forward-thinking leadership continue to shape our governance and oversight. In 2024, we achieved a 35% female board representation across our group and embedded ESG into board committees oversight. We proudly note that 4 out of 12 of our subsidiary chairpersons are actually ladies. That's to say, a third of our boards are led by women chairpersons. In terms of the regulatory landscape that we are seeing supporting ESG efforts in Kenya, we are now actively working with the ESG dashboard within the Kenya Sustainability Reporting Standards for purposes of outlining the metrics for energy, water, social practices, and even waste management. In particular, the recently issued Waste Management Act has also outlined specific guidelines on waste segregation and disposal, and this is a significant step really towards making it now enforceable other than where it was just comply or explain. From an investment guidelines viewpoint, we are also seeing the Green Board's regulatory framework within the capital markets public offers listing disclosures regulations reissued in 2023 being very helpful in how we determine our capital raising efforts and strategies and the subsequent allocation of the funds. Risk management cannot be underscored, and it remains a core pillar of the governance component, from mitigation such as training all our staff and achieving a 90% compliance level in terms of attendance. And now I think this year it has moved to 100% for the anti-corruption measures, fraud prevention, and other social impact or social risks. To maintaining zero material regulatory breaches, we continue to uphold the highest standards of integrity. We have obviously built the muscle to proactively anticipate disruptions, and we have put in place long-term strategies that build resilience and business continuity, thereby safeguarding all our stakeholders' confidence and dreams, as well as shareholder value. As I close, ladies and gentlemen, I urge us as we unveil today's sustainability report, it is a moment to do more than just reflect. It is a moment for us to renew our commitment to action. It is our moment to renew our commitment to the environmental, social, and governance goals, and ultimately to honor our planet, who is our Mother Nature. Thank you all for being part of this moment, and we really look forward to your continued engagement, your continued partnership, your continued collaboration as we shape the future together. Thank you.
Asante sana, Madam Hilda. Indeed, we are renewing our commitment to action and to supporting the planet that we live in. Just one statement that you said that caught my attention is sustainability is guided by how we show up every day in our businesses, our communities, and our families. So are we running sustainable families? I'm going to be asking my wife that tonight so that I have an answer for you next year. At this point, it's my pleasure to invite the captain of the ship to come and add his voice to this sustainability conversation and the report. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the Group MD and CEO, Mr. Tom Gitogo.
Good morning. A question for you. If you are the CEO and the MC, together with the director legal, made the comments you wanted to make, what would you do? So one of the things I will do is I will ask our regulators to come and greet you. Because then I have nothing to say. But before I do that, let me try and say some of what they said in my own words. I think you've picked up by now that sustainability and ESG manenos is Britam's DNA. I think that is clear. We don't do this because it's a good thing to do. We do it because we believe it's the right thing to do. And in any case, the society and the various stakeholders we work with expect us to do this. Not just in good times, times of certainty, but also in times of uncertainty. In fact, especially in times of uncertainty. So our solutions, as Hilda mentioned, are designed, yes, to protect our customers, but it is also to uplift them, empower, and to build resilience at the individual level, at the family level, business level, and community level. And we have done that by ingraining our ESG strategy in our business strategy. So it doesn't get to 10 or 11 a.m. and we say, oh, ESG time. No, ESG is part and parcel of what we do. And that is why it's not surprising that we were the first insurance group to issue a sustainability report, and we are proud to launch our second sustainability report. And I invite you to visit our website for the more detailed account of what we have been doing. One of the things you will easily pick from the report is that we are a company that is determined to deepen our involvement and our leadership in sustainability, inclusive growth, and our focus has leaned towards building climate resilience. We all know that there were always climatic incidences, even in Noah's time. What has happened, though, is that they are now more frequent and more intense, causing or visiting significant disruption to some of our stakeholders. That's where Britam steps in. The other one is we do know that the penetration of insurance and therefore inclusivity needs some work to be done. There are a lot of underserved groups, whether it's the youth, whether it's the informal sector, and as part of our sustainability responsibility, this is something we have determined to address. We also want to do this for especially the youth, women, and people working in the informal sector. We have not forgotten other citizens, and in fact, in our 60 years, we have perfected the art of looking at the mainstream sectors of our economies. But we are now deliberately, with the support and leadership of our boards, going into the informal sector. I know in the West, it has become almost cynical to, people looking at the role of business in sustainability. What can business do to solve big challenges? But at Britam, we are not moved by any comments or commentary out there. We will continue to harness innovation, partnerships, and we will invest in solutions that promote shared prosperity, because the future we envision at Britam is one where no one is left behind. And I want to invite you all as our stakeholders to join us in shaping a sustainable future together. Talking of inviting you, as part of our 60th anniversary celebrations, we have committed publicly to planting 60 million trees in the next 5 years. To put it to perspective to Dr. Mungai, who likes numbers, that's 1 million trees a month. Or, if you like, 34,000 trees a day. There's no way we can do that as Britam alone, and we need partners. We've also invited all our friends and family and so on to join us and send in pictures of their planting activities. To fill up the rest of the time, but really it's not to fill up, because I determined to do this from the word go. Let me invite Madam Anne Chelagat, who is the Director, Market Conduct, and our regulator, IRA, to greet her people and say a few words. As you can tell, she did not know that she would do this, but you know, she's a leader, so always prepared.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol observed. And I just want to say I've been ambushed today. But as a leader, you always have to be prepared. I was expecting to come here and sit and listen. But sustainability is something which is close to my heart and close to IRA's heart. So I will just say that to congratulate Britam, number one, for 60 years. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm approaching somewhere close there. I will not tell you what my age is. And for the MC, I liked what you said. It's about resilience. It is about possibilities. And the third one was what? Remind me. Wisdom. And those three things are just not only about the 60 years, I think it is also part of sustainability. So those were good taglines on how to approach sustainability. Let me say, it is an honor to be here. On behalf of our CEO, Mr. Kiptum, who was not able to be here. And it is also our responsibility, as I said in IRA, to be part of this. As you talk about shaping a sustainable future. And for me, I think it is good to celebrate. And when I'm in these forums on sustainability, I always say that sustainability is a call to action, a vision, a shared commitment to protecting our people, our environment. And for all of us, I always say sustainability is no longer optional. It is the only viable path forward. And I've listened to the speakers who have spoken before me. You have spoken on what you're doing and what you intend to do, and that is the way to go. Because I believe that is what will balance economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection. But as a regulator, I must say that sustainability must be ensured in both senses of the word, safeguarded and supported through sound collaborations and partnerships. And because it's not my day to make a speech, I just say congratulations and let's forge the way forward, because we cannot go forward without sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Anne, for those comments. Is one allowed to call a regulator one's friend? So let me now invite my friend, Mr. Wycliffe Shamia, the CEO of CMA, again to make some remarks.
The board of Britam, I know there are several companies in there. My friend Tom, whom I have known for many years. The staff of Britam, partners, all those who are here today, I see many in high places sitting among us to celebrate with you as you launch your sustainability report. I want to say good morning. Now, for me, I'm here, and please, as a friend, because I may be accused for endorsing something, but I'm here as a friend. But let me admit certain things. It's good always to say as it is. This is extremely a good morning. For those who have seen Britam, you want to accept this morning, Britam is in a good place. Can we clap for them? And I know I don't want to say much, but you know what I mean. I want to thank the board, MD, and staff of Britam for making Britam to be what it is today. I was very happy when I listened to Hilda, because she made it very easy for me to understand. So, in which aspects are you really doing what we are saying today? Because, unfortunately, all of us, we are talking about ESG reporting. But you must have done something. I'm happy to learn, Britam, you are doing it in many aspects. Perhaps maybe a request, you need to assist others and hold others who have the same aspirations so that they can do the same thing you are doing today. But I want to thank you and also celebrate with you the 60 years. Those are many years. I think perhaps when you do this formally, we will look at the milestones that you've achieved and where you want to go. But no doubt from my fellow regulator here, I know you are big enough. So I want just to wish you a good day as you have this discussion around sustainability. For us, we believe the actions must be there before you report. And we'll be listening to see what has happened that makes you different from where you sit. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Shaping a sustainable future together. That is what Britam is about. And I would be remiss if I did not appreciate the support we get as management from our board, represented here by Celestine Munda, Julius Mongai, and Dr. Hata von Stigo. My colleagues that are here, but also our partners, FSD, Dr. Mongai, and others. So please feel welcome as I hand back the meeting to the MC who made my remarks. Which MC does that?
Let's appreciate the CEO once again. Yeah, it's because, sir, it's because the first time I came to this event, I knew nothing about ESG apart from seeing it on TV. So I really did my homework. I researched, and I guess it's working for me. At this point, and the Group MD has already alluded to this, one of the hallmark initiatives that Britam is embarking on is planting 60 million trees by 2030. And I tried to look at that in perspective. Like, do you know how many trees there are in the Nairobi Arboretum? The data is scanty, but there's at least 5 million mature trees. All right? And maybe another 5 million trees that are growing. So we could give it a ballpark figure of 10 million. So essentially, Britam is trying to build 6 arboretums by 2030. Wapi makofi. And there's a gentleman who came and said that it's not really about the reports we're doing, it's the action we're taking. So the next video, the next 2 minutes, will give you an idea of the action that is being taken, because it's great to say 60 million, but it's another thing to start the journey. The Chinese have a legendary saying that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Britam has begun that one step. Take a look.
mission is to secure the future, empower communities to shape a sustainable future. So for us, Britam Sustainability is not a program. One of the things we've done is to integrate it into the core business strategy. This shapes what we do on a day-to-day. This is very critical because it contributes to inclusivity, innovation, as well as impact. The social impact work that we do is effective because, one, it is driven by a clear need for us to be in those communities. We vet what we're doing from looking at the school that are in most need of our programs before we go and implement this.
We have crop insurance, which has been able to safeguard the lives of 10,000 plus farmers. We have livestock insurance, which has also been able to cover up to 100,000 pastoralists. So with this initiative, just shows our commitment towards being your friends for life and ensuring continuity throughout our engagements.
There are also various initiatives we've done. We launched the first phase of solar. This has been very significant, reducing our cost up to around 50% so far, which was launched in September. We continue to roll this out within our offices across Kenya. We are creating and refurbishing our offices to be sustainable friendly in terms of them being conducive to our clients as well as our employees. This is just a few of some of the many things we've done so far. We've got a program that touches on clean water in schools, and the schools we have been able to run this program are rural schools, early childhood schools, primary schools, and the idea there is just to make sure that kids are able to stay in school, able to stay in class. It also has in good health because of the clean water, which allows them to get this waterborne diseases that we have been suffering from. We've been able to impact over 25 schools since we rolled out this project last August, and we intend to do it this year. The other pillar we have is the good health pillar, and in this pillar we're able to touch on pregnant moms, so through a maternal health program, and this is just to help women who are concerned, who don't have insurance, who do not have the knowledge, so we're equipping them with all that to make sure that the pregnancy journey, just to make sure that we're playing our part in reducing maternity and mortality in this country.
It is exciting, and that my role at Britam doesn't just limit to me providing financial services, but gives me an opportunity to create real impact to ensure that we give value to the community at large.
We have made a commitment and a promise to be with our stakeholders through it all. This has totally disrupted how we think in terms of our services, in terms of our products, in terms of proactivity and long-term vision, and ensuring that we are able to cushion what we do as a business and the impact it has on the society in terms of not just now, but as well as the future.
We are looking to expand our social initiatives through the several countries we have presence in and even beyond.
The fifth, the general citizenship and do our products, but in this case, we just want to give back to the vulnerable, to children, and make sure that they're also able to show to them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's impressive. Programs in maternal health, in water, and even ensuring the underserved communities. There's yet another video that I want you to watch, but we'll watch it after the next agenda for the initiative that was kickstarted in Nyahururu for planting the trees. That will come after this next conversation. We're going to move the gears a little forward from just speakers to a conversation. We're calling it a fireside chat. The question is, what will insurance look like in 2050? In 2050, what will insurance look like? So this is a discussion on the evolving landscape of insurance. And it's now my pleasure to invite Dr. Edward Mungai, partner and lead consultant, Impact Africa Consulting Limited, to come and have this conversation. Wapi makofi ya daktari. He will also introduce his panel.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sorry, Doctor, just a quick point of order. As this conversation goes on, it might elicit some reactions from you, some questions. So on the screen, and if you're tuning online, there's a code that has come to your screen for Mentimeter or our website. Go to www.mentimeter.com, then enter the code and type your question. So after Daktari's conversation, we are going to be inviting those questions. Daktari, please go ahead. Sorry for the interruption.
No worries. Good morning, everyone. I must say it's a bit overwhelming. Why do I say it's a bit overwhelming? Very interesting word said this morning. It's about impact. It's about beyond the profit. It's about the 60 million trees. And I must tell you that this is all because of the future that we want. A sustainable future together is also a difficult one. But I'm very fortunate, to have two people to discuss with this question. And I must say that any interesting company is now thinking beyond 2030. This is why we are reflecting on the future of insurance beyond 2030. Well, we have Arias as one of the participants, and I invite Arias here. Arias, is the lead or the principal at FSD Africa, really focusing on matters innovation, and not just on innovation, is innovation for resilience. Please underline that, because that is very important, and we'll be able to hear about that. He's been working in the Caribbean, in Africa, and also in Asia, for the World Bank, for IRA, for FSD Africa, and the World Bank. We also have Eva Kimani, who is the acting CEO of Britam Micro Insurance. For Eva, it's about telco, it's about fintech, it's about partnerships, it's about digital, and not only for the sake of it, but as good business models, which then makes our businesses to be competitive. Eva, I think I want to start with you. The question that I have for you, is that we are saying that we are shaping a sustainable future together. Now, how does insurance look like beyond 2030?
Thank you, Dr. Mungai, and good morning, everyone. That's a good question, and while 2030 is 5 years away, we know that we can always invent the future. Don't necessarily have to know what's going on. So from where I sit, if I look 5 years from now, or even 10, 15 years, I do see that the people we are calling the Gen Z will definitely now be the ones who will be sitting here where we are seated. They're the ones who will be making decisions. And therefore, borrowing from how we know that they behave, which is they are this impatient generation. They are the generation who want everything at their fingertips. So I do see a future of insurance where embedded insurance becomes the mainstream, where insuring moments becomes mainstream in the sense that Our customers will not necessarily go out to only seek insurance, but they will be seeking holistic solutions. And therefore, partnerships will become focal. They become centerpiece, because then it means if you have your farmers, you will need to embed insurance in their in the seeds. You will need to embed insurance in their farming ecosystem. If you are a healthcare provider, you will need to embed insurance in the whole value chain, and therefore I do see insurance in 2013 to the future more embedded. But I also see a future of insurance where we work together, because for this sustainability agenda, we cannot do it alone. Partners, development institutions, blended finance, where we do this commercially, but we also invite our partners like FSD to work together, because if we are going to be sustainable, if we are going to reach our customers who are most vulnerable, then the future of insurance has collaboration where we are then able to support and work together in a sustainable manner. Finally, it's the use of technology. I cannot finish without saying data, AI, and predictive analytics, because, and this has already started. For example, you can use data, you can use telematics, you can use IoT to sort of predict whether it is from a pricing perspective, whether it is even predicting, for example, what we did in Tana River, where you use, you're able to predict the risks using, for example, the river levels. So you can use technology to really simplify insurance, build trust, accelerate claims payout, incentivize customers to have better behaviors, and therefore all these things we are seeing around technology will become mainstream, and therefore as insurers we really have to be at the forefront of that and continue innovating around that space. Thank you.
Clearly technology will become even more important as we go to capture, to work with the Gen Zs. Now Elias, you've been working before with the regulator. But I also note that, all those technological words that Eva was mentioning, from AI, you also talk about quantum computing, you're also talking about blockchain. What do you see the role of the regulator, and that the creation of an enabling environment when it comes to enabling sustainability to thrive, but at the same time, ensuring that we are capturing on the benefit of the technologies that were mentioned?
Right. Thank you very much. And again, congratulations to Britam. Maybe just to confess, when I started my career, I had two opportunities, either to work for Britam or IRA. And I still know that Ambrose still mad with me, because he really wanted me to join Britam, but I opted to join IRA, but Britam is always in my heart. So congratulations to Britam. Now, just to really answer your questions, what is the role of the regulator in all this journey? Now, if you look at the insurance space across not only Kenya, but across the continent, we still believe that insurance has a big role to play, not only becoming risk takers, but also we've seen the insurance industry in a way that they are creating the risks that currently we are saying that sustainability needs to solve. And that basically means that there's need to really think about the entire balance sheet of an insurance company. It's not only about thinking about the aspect of managing risk in terms of taking the liabilities that most of the time communities and businesses face, but also really looking at the role of investment within an insurance industry in terms of really enabling the way in which companies invest, not only creating risk, but really enabling us to put our investments into more sustainable channels. Now that basically brings then the role of the regulator, because the regulators really define what solutions need to go to the people, how then are these people managed, but at the same time, really enabling the market to develop and to grow. And that basically means that the regulators have a very important role in terms of enabling the market to develop, but also to define in which circumstances which people need to be given this particular solution. So regulators have a very critical role to play when it comes to managing, not only enabling companies to develop sustainable insurance solutions, but also the way that the companies will be investing into the future. Now, if you look at the numbers, in terms of how companies have invested, over 70% of most of our investments go to government securities. And the remaining 30% will either play into the space of term deposits, property, and then gives us the question, where do we really need to put our investments for the future? Because we really need to think about what we call sustainable investments and sustainable assets that will kind of define the future of our continent. So it's important for the regulators also, not only to develop the market, but also think about really redefining the role of investments in the future. And that's why it is critical for all of us to really think about, as we enable innovations to come, there's also need for us to enable what we call sustainable investments to be achieved by really redefining things such as regulatory capital on how then we are going to harness the future of such investments for the growth of the market, but also really to ensure that as we grow and we enable these particular regulations to be defined, then the role of new investment channels being generated. So capital markets also plays a critical role in terms of increasing the bandwidth for investments, because we are not only trying to protect customers, we also need to enable the shareholders of these particular companies to get their investments and to get their returns. And that basically means that we also really need to rethink the capital market space and define new channels and new assets and new elements that companies should be able to invest in. Last is that if you look at the insurance markets in Africa, it has been shrinking. In 2023, the total insurance premiums across the continent dropped from $72 billion to $63 billion. That basically means that are we kind of in a market that is shrinking? What do we really need to do as insurance companies? The risk spectrum, as we have critically increased, but the insurance premiums are going down. That basically means that we are taking more risk, more than what the customers are paying for. And it doesn't really mean that we really need to increase the price. We just need to rethink about how are we providing our solutions better, how are we becoming sustainable in the long run. I've heard Eva speaking about this element of the last mile. Are we able to provide insurance premiums to the mama mbogas, the young people, and the women? If you look at that particular space, Africa has around 5 to 7 billion of opportunity in terms of $5 to $7 billion of opportunity within that particular space. And this basically means that we really need to think about how then as insurance industry, we tap into this particular opportunity. So that means that the regulators have to support the ecosystem change. They need to create an enabling environment and also create instruments that will be investable in the long run.
Elias, you are talking about numbers. And when we look at the numbers, we are seeing only 2.3% of penetration within the African continent, whereas the global number is 7.2. So we have like almost 3 times that we need to go. Yet, and I told the audience, to underline the word resilience. We are saying we and our livelihoods in the continent of Africa are the most affected when you talk about things like climate change. The question is, where is the room for climate change, integration, better livelihoods, the question of, ESG matters in totality into this conversation. Yet, we only have 2.3%, of the people having insurance covers.
Right. That basically means that there's a need to throw the insurance book outside when it comes to the insurance in Africa. Now, there are 3 elements that becomes critical: access, awareness, and affordability. I want you to underline those 3 things that the insurance industry have to really critically think about. So if you look at about awareness, the insurance practitioners are really selling a product that people are not aware about. So how then do you ensure that people become aware of what solutions insurance services can be able to provide to them? The second element is about access. Insurance is not easily accessible. If you just look at even the report that you have from IRA, over 90% of insurance premium are generated in the cities. So that basically means that 10% comes out of what we talk about. If it's Nairobi, it's 80% of insurance premium. The other 10% come from Mombasa and Kisumu and a bit of Nakuru. So that basically means that if today you kind of wiped out Nairobi and a few cities, then there is no insurance in Kenya. So again, access becomes an important element. And I really like what Britam is doing through the Beta Lab, is then how then do we enable last mile distribution in terms of enabling access to be achieved. The last bit is affordability. Now, if we are able to provide solutions that meet the needs of the people, then we'll enable these particular solutions to be affordable. Then what we really need to think about, what is the cost of administration? Because if you look at the value that goes to customer in terms of the risk premium, it's less than 50%. So the other 50% comes out of the operations of enabling these particular customers to receive the product. So without innovation and without the change within the distribution processes, then the insurance product will continue being really, really expensive. We can provide more value to the customer by enabling innovation, whereby we can increase the risk premium and ensure our customers get a wider benefit through affordable channels of support. Then you've asked a question, how then do we bring climate change? And then I'll bring 3Ds within the conversation. And this basically means digitization become important, decarbonization becomes important, and decentralization to solve the particular element of climate change. I'll kind of define these three terms. When we talk about decarbonization, we are talking about developing solutions that will meet the climate action to these particular people. We all know that the climate change has become more frequent, and the insurance industry will not be able to manage this risk by doing the same things. The risks will become uninsurable. That basically means the shareholders within this particular business will be putting their money at risk, and they will not be getting a return going forward. So that basically means that there's need for us to really think about not only taking the risk and not only creating the risk, because I mentioned earlier, the insurance industry are also risk creators. They are trying to manage the risk, but they are also creating the risk. So how then do we ensure that we decarbonize the ecosystem? The second element is digitization. Eva has talked about the role of digitization within the insurance space, and within the next frontier, we've moved from digital insurance to embedded insurance, and the future is connected insurance. And lastly, it will be generative insurance, because AI will be critical. Some industries are already at that particular element. The challenge is that insurance industry is really, really slow to adopt to this particular element. So the company of the future will kind of move through these particular spaces: digitize, enable insurance, connect insurance, and generative AI type of insurance. Lastly is decentralization. The world is highly connected. People are speaking to each other. Our children will not only be talking to their friends, they have friends that they have never seen, they have never they'll never have a physical conversation with, that they are their friends. So insurance should be at that particular level. Decentralization, whereby there'll be no, whereby you don't really need to meet your customer, or you meet your company digitally. So it's important to really think about from 3A challenge to the 3D solution that I did mention to really address the issues of climate change.
Yeah. Eva, it's very clear, from what Tadayas is saying, that we must throw away the insurance book. Now, it's very interesting when I look at your LinkedIn profile. It talks about a couple of things. It talks about strategy, commercial, product development, and even one which is interesting is for win-win. Now, let's talk about how do we throw this book, but still we make sure that we are building a sustainable future but also the business still become resilient and achieving that win-win. What are the innovations that we'll see for the vulnerable, and the marginalized?
Thank you, Dr. Mogai, and at the risk of antagonizing my regulator, the book will be kept in the room. We shall just make it agile, and we shall work together. And I do like what Elias has said about the 3 A's, which is really, really inspiring. If I just build onto that, I can say that for us, and to ensure, innovation can become a buzzword, and it can become a bit textbook. But you have to always put the customer at the center of any innovation you speak about. And the only 2 things I can add is to say, even as we innovate, and Britam is doing, I must give accolades to Britam because we have taken a very bold move on inventing this future. That is why we have registered a microinsurance business to take care of the vulnerable and the masses, and also taken a bold move on Beta Lab and making sure that we invest in the future generation, we invest in the young people, and we invest in the innovations that will take us to the future. But more importantly, if you look at the customer in terms of innovation, trust and relevance are going to be very important. And the past where we went, created products, and took them out there for the customer is gone. And now we have to make sure that we involve the customers that we are building for. We need to make sure that if you're building climate-related solutions, we go out there, we speak to these customers, we actually experience what they are vulnerable to, and make sure that the products that we are coming up with are really speaking to those risks. And that is where, of course, we invite the regulator to walk that journey with us. We invite other participants like FSD to walk the journey with us, because we have to really start solving for the problems or the our customers are going through. More importantly is relevance. And here now I begin to speak about how we then ensure that if I go to a farmer's home, I'm able to give a multi-peril sort of solution. So whether I am covering the farmer for the health that they are health risks that they're exposed to, whether I'm covering them for the life that they have, covering them for the crops and the risks that are related to the climate change that can then affect them, so that then the solutions I'm giving them are all holistic. More importantly, for the innovations to work, we need to ensure that we reach many customers. We need to make sure that we scale up. I was just having a conversation with our FD, Charles, and he was telling me for microinsurance to work, we must scale it up. We must scale it up. Obviously, he's talking from a profit perspective, but I look at it from the purpose, and we meet there. So scaling up is very important, and any innovation that we come up with, if we are not able to reach as many customers as we can, then the innovation is as good as it's on the shelf, approved by the regulator, and Britam launching it in air-conditioned offices. And how do we then reach the masses? Collaborations, partnerships. We must make sure we work with the ecosystem players. I must make sure that I must convince the players to come along. We must work with telcos, we must work with fintechs, we must work with the young people, we must work with community leaders to make sure that this financial inclusion, democratization of insurance is not a one-man's job. All of us in the value chain have to play a role, because that's the only way we can grow financial inclusion. And with that, our innovations. Finally, is on ESG. Again, using technology. We do see that we will be able to innovate around how we manage the risks. And obviously, working together with other insurers, we are able to then create risk pools that can then assist us in ensuring that some of the risks that we cannot take on our own, then we can be able to pull them and be able to cover our customers. Thank you.
I do actually look forward to that, future that you're describing, Eva. Mainly because of recent days I've been going into buildings in the city center. And one clear message that I've been seeing in those buildings, that they do not allow hawkers and insurance agents. I do hope that these technologies will be able to deal with that, and so that we can be able to access insurance for the people. Now, I want to open it up for 1 or 2 questions from the audience. Do we have anybody with any burning question? Please keep it short.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Joshua Fune. My question is, first I want to thank you for the insightful conversation. The question is around collaboration. And Eva mentioned that. So I was just figuring out, then how do we achieve collaboration? Because Britam alone cannot do this. We need each other. And at times, there's a bit of competition. How do we achieve this? Because we are in this all together, all of us, as insurers, as regulators, and all stakeholders. So the question is, how do we achieve collaboration to build this sustainable future of insurance? Thank you.
Eva, 1 minute to that question.
1 minute might be too long. Simple answer, win-win. Best way to get this collaboration going is to ensure that everybody sees their role, their value, and what it means for them. I think it was Tom who said sustainability is no longer an option. And doing sustainable business is not good. It's the right thing to do. So if we all as partners actually do realize that, and we also have a role to play in it, we see the value in it, and more so we look forward to the future and the generations we have, then we can work together. So win-win, what is in it for everyone, and always making sure that we think about the customer. It may not be today's customer, the customer of 2050.
Clearly, Stephen Covey, principle number 5, think win-win. Any other question? Final one? I'm kind of looking at this side. Yes, we have a question there.
Hello, good morning. My name is Wanjira, and I am really grateful that I'm here today. My question is, how palatable is this conversation to the common mwananchi? We are launching the sustainability report, but how are we going to make it very easy for the mwananchi to comprehend it, to understand it, and to adapt it?
Maybe I can actually answer that question, having been involved in the creation of this report. And I think the person from CMA said it very well, that indeed this is just about what have been done. There are many, and we are reporting what we have done. Many things are happening which are relevant to the Wajiko and the bottom of the pyramid, and the report really is to showcase that. Remember, this is about doing good as good business, where we are working with the Wajiko to make sure your common mwananchi, to make sure that they thrive, at the same time Britam thrives, but at the same time we create that future that we want. So indeed, I think it reaches Wanjiko out of the products that are being developed, out of the activities, and here is just to showcase some of those as we go along.
Can I add? Yeah, and just to add on to that, one more point. One of the good things about the microinsurance regulation that the regulator has done is to allow us to have sales agents that are really not the high end. You can be able to just get agents who go through basic training and are able to support in distribution of the low income earners products. And therefore, for example, from Britam, our intention is to go to the last mile, to that mama mboga, and to use that mama mboga to be able to help us with the awareness, help us with the training of those customers, and even help us with processing or even receiving those claims as and when the risks materialize. So we do have a plan to make sure that we reach the ends of where that customer is, where Wanjiko buys her sugar, where Wanjiko buys her bread. Right there she can find a financial product that she can consume.
Elias, in 1 minute, what's your advice to the insurance company of the future? 1 minute.
Right. My advice is simple, and I'll break it into 3. 1 is develop and scale, and that basically means that you have to develop very customer-centric solutions. Not only thinking about digitization at the point of sale, but also thinking about digitization at the point of paying claims, because most of the time, and we've seen across the insurance industry, that we talk about innovations on how we distribute, but not on how we claim. And that have kind of not enabled us as an industry to change the conversation most of the time. The second element is adoption. And what do I really mean by this? We really need to invest in terms of enabling our customers not only to think about the risk protection that we are providing to them, but also the risk mitigation, enabling them to be resilient. So if you are talking to a farmer, we really need to kind of have additional climate smart applications and climate smart training to enable them to really understand that the insurance product enables them to protect themselves, but how then can they mitigate themselves from these particular hazards? Because it will be also really, really expensive for the company to keep on paying the same claims. And the last thing is enable. We have to really work together within the ecosystem. We need to make the regulator our friend in terms of enabling us to quickly test and learn some of the innovations that we are going to develop. The second element is not only by working closely with the regulator, but also bringing together the ecosystem that will enable us to provide these solutions to the last mile. So those 3 elements is what I'll leave to the Britam team and the entire insurance industry: develop and scale, adapt and enable.
Thank you, Elias. And to you, Eva, what would you advise the insurance regulator of the future? 1 minute.
Clearly, Dr. Mongai does not wish me well. To continue on the journey, they are very good. They open up their doors, they listen to us, but more collaboration, support. We do have a lot of partnerships, engagements we do. So just to really continue being at the forefront and being an enabling regulator who is able to then support this agenda, because sustainability is the only way to do good. Yes.
Clearly, the future is well defined. I think from the conversation, what am I taking home? First and foremost, we must think collaboration. But as we think about those collaboration, it's about win-win. Secondly, we must throw away that insurance book. It has served us well until to this point, but beyond 2030, we must rethink that. And the way to rethink that is through technology. I think it was well described that it is about decarbonization, it's about, decentralization, and it's about digital. So that then we can be able to achieve that accessibility, affordability, and I think the last one was an access. And that way we will be able to build that insurance company of the future where the Gen Zs, who will then be the one in the market, will be the one be able to take our products. Thank you very much, and I think it was a good conversation. I hand it over back to Eric. Thank you so much.
Asante. Please help me appreciate Dr. Mongai and Elias Somondi and Eva Kimani. Asanteni sana. In a moment, we are going to also listen to a critical demographic, the Gen Zs. But before that, let's have a quick transition video on the Nyahururu project.
Britam, but for all of us. As Britam, we are celebrating 60 years. 60 years of serving our communities at the individual level, family level, and business level. It is in honor of those 60 years that we have come up with this initiative to plant 60 million trees in the next 5 years.
God relies a lot on water and good gas. So ensuring that we can be able to have trees around means that we also take care of the environment that we use every day. So the community around here, they benefit from the fact that much of their livelihood also comes from this ground.
We are grateful for this opportunity to partner with the club for the long term, because trees are a long-term investment. They'll be here for the next 60 years, 100 years, depending on how well we and our successors take care of them. We'll be coming to check on them once in a while, but really it's for you to continue the partnership that we have begun to do.
I know trees is about life. Planting a tree is it actually symbolizes life. The oxygen we get, the food we get, there's a lot of ecosystem that comes with that we as KBN and EABS stand for. But it's just to thank everyone for the commitment, and we want to see these trees grow and let's walk the journey together.
A sustainable legacy in every seedling. Well, at this point, we want to give opportunity to a very important demographic. It is said that Africa is 35%, some statistics giving up to 45% Gen Z. And this is like 400 million Gen Zs in Africa. All right, so 400 million Gen Zs, very important demographic, because Africa is has the youngest population in the world with a median age of 19 years. This demographic is important because they shape trends in many things, but at least 4 things: technology adoption, education and digital learning, entrepreneurship and innovation, and finally civic engagement and social movements. So we need to be listening to these guys, because when you talk about 2050, they are the guys who are going to be the drivers of 2050. I had a story about the African Union. They had open opportunity for engagement, and they called some 17-year-olds, 18, 19, 20, to come and talk, because in 2013, the African Union turned 50. So they made a vision for the next 50 years. It's called Agenda 63, Agenda 2063. So when these young guys came to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, this is what they said to the African leaders. They said that what you guys are doing is really good and we appreciate it, but here's the reality. In 2063, all of you will be dead. So how are you planning for us in advance? And we're here to talk about it. So it's very interesting, because millennials, akina us, we're the last generation that is compliant. The Gen Zs want to be involved. We're not just going to Ushago for Christmas. We want our voice. We want you to tell us in August, what do you want to do for Christmas? All right? Not, us guys, it was not an option, a discussion, or a conversation. We just knew we were going up country. But there's a generation in town that will be alive in that 50-year and 30 years we're talking about. And let's hear from them. Let me invite Diana Kaburu, Senior Principal Legal, Britam, to come and invite this Gen Z conversation. Wapi makofi Diana, looking brilliant in white and blue.
Thank you so much, Bwana MC Eric. I think you've put it well, and you've really engaged the room as to what to expect next. Gen Z has become a force to be reckoned with. They're known as the young, the fearless, you name it. And I like to associate myself and say I'm a zillennial, just at the borderline of millennial and Gen Z because of all the amazing things that Eric has spoken about. Just being, yes, you're compliant, but at the same time, you want your voice to be heard. So it has been said in this room that sustainability is no longer an option, but an imperative. And therefore, it is for this reason that the next generation's voices are not only important, but essential. So we have the privilege of hearing from a dynamic young leader who embodies innovation, urgency, and bold vision for a sustainable future. Our speaker is a passionate ESG champion here at Britam. He's also a tech enthusiast and a data analyst, or rather, yes, a data analyst and scientist by profession. So welcome, help me to welcome Mr. Pride Amos to the stage. So we've been told we are young, and therefore we will not be sitting, hence the seats have been taken away. And it will be very brief and straight to the point, so just give us a few minutes of your time. So Mr. Amos Pride, what comes to mind, to the first question, direct here, what comes to mind when you hear of the word insurance today? And how do you think it needs to evolve by the year 2050?
Thank you very much. So as you heard, my name is Pride Amos. So I feel like I'm on the hot spot, especially tomorrow, as you know. So when I hear about insurance, I've been knowing this as something that is covering you. I remember when I first joined insurance, only to come to find that people are actually innovating inside here. I used to think these guys just take our money and then they promise you something, and if you don't read exactly what they've said, they will not pay you. That's what I know what insurance is all about. So when I came inside there, I found it's actually very different. And looking towards the future we actually want. So my people actually want a very transparent future. So if you realize we demand a lot of accountability, so in terms of how the policies are underwritten, I think insurance should be preventive rather than reactive. It should be part of our lifestyle, part of what I do every day, something that recognizes the gig economy. I think the HR know some of us don't like staying in roles for long. So, things like that. If that's our lifestyle, so how do you incorporate us in what you do? Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. The second question, as a Gen Z voice, because I know you're one, what values and priorities would you want to see embedded in insurance solutions just beyond profit?
Beyond profit, transparency, as I just said earlier. Transparency in how the policies are being written. I see the older generations, when they buy insurance, they look for people like Diana to help them understand what is written. I think for me, I don't want to look for Diana to help me understand what you guys have written. I want to just actually take a policy and read for myself and actually come to terms with what we are agreeing, because it's a partnership. It's between me and you, so let's understand each other. I also think equity is very important. Beyond me, I also look at other people who are around me, the communities that we come from, and I think we want everyone to benefit from this conversation. And if it's my premiums, if at all I'm not going to claim in that year, and then Britam is reporting profit, I also want to see how is this profit impacting communities? How are lives being changed as Britam is planting trees, as solars are being put in schools? Those are things that actually make me happy when I want to look for insurance. Actually, I'm in a group where we are just Gen Zs because of various issues. So, so I actually asked them what they want for insurance, and insurance companies that they would want to insure with here in the country, and they actually give me reasons why they want that. And Britam was mentioned. Clap for yourselves. So the reason why they actually said Britam is because they said they see the money the people insure here goes and impacts communities, and I think that's all about what we want.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Give him a hand. Thank you for killing my FA dreams. Now I will not be selling insurance in the future. But to the next question, how can insurance better use technology and digital platforms to connect and serve young people meaningfully?
Okay. So I think about technology, it's reaching us where we are. I think most of us here have phones. I was born where when I was, I think like 15 or 14 there, I already had a phone. Many of your children, many of people here have had phones also. And I think it's reaching us where we are. So how do you utilize this technology to actually reach me where I am and reach my friends where they are? And I think things like gamification, I think with technology, I think I've seen some people, not us, some people just build technology because they are streamlining processes. I think for us, it's not about streamlining processes. I remember one day I went to Mbidi and told him that this Britam just we want it to look this way, and this way. And it's because I felt like we want engagement. Because if you want me to actually use your app, like a good example is there is a certain app for people who are Christians. It's called YouVersion. So for people to actually use that, those people have actually created it in such a way that you actually want to go there every day, because there is something like a streak. So someone does not want to lose their reading streak. So you see, it's gamification, a lot of engagement with technology, because if it's just about processes, then I think it's going to be a bit difficult. We want to actually be engaged with technology.
Okay, you called it gamification?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you've said gamification is?
So gamification
crowd, yes.
is...
Not for me, I should know.
So gamification for the millennials and baby boomers in the room. I think it's where you put features in these applications that promote engagement. So they are not necessarily what the app is actually built for, but they're actually things inside the application that enable engagement. So they want to things that keep me there, if I can say.
Okay, I think IT team. I saw Tom Juma somewhere. He knows what that means. So the next question: given the climate changes that we faced, or that we are faced with, what kind of insurance products would inspire trust and that will inspire trust and action among the youth?
I think things like flood insurance, parametric insurance, I think home insurance to some extent that covers everyone. By everyone, I mean that these products are underwritten based on my data. So like today, if I live in, maybe I live in Githurai, and you know, there's floods that, like last year, April, there was floods and things that happened that were affecting everyone in Nairobi, but there are places that were actually affected more than others. But also, there are also Gen Zs who live in Kilimani, there are also Gen Zs who live in Karen, there are Gen Zs everywhere. So I want to look at it from a point not as me, but from a point of others, because if I actually live in Karen and I've insured my policy with Britam, and I understand the whole concept, I understand how we make this money. If I've not claimed and Gen Zs in Githurai were affected, and I'm watching news or I see an update in my app that actually Gen Zs in Githurai, their homes they've been paid the insurance, they've been rescued from the situation. I think those are things that actually make us happy. So, and also looking at other things like sustainable investing, things that actually look at our future. It's not actually about the present, but it's actually how life is actually evolving because of our lifestyles. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we are in a good place as Britam, especially the flood insurance, and all I think, and also what the foundation is doing on the same. So to the last question, if you could speak directly to insurance CEOs who are in the room, by the way, and those who are not here, probably watching online from the regions, but just assume this. So if you could speak directly to them, what's the one change that you'd urge them to make to remain relevant for your generation?
I think this question, I don't know, I'm answering Eva, Tom, and Vivi there. So I think my generation, we have, I think, a new hashtag, young, bold, fearless. We have a lot of hashtags that we're using, but I love that one. So our generation loves purpose and loves a lot of impact. And it's not all about profits. We understand that actually profits are the core of business. There is no one who actually wakes up to make loss as a business. Everyone is waking up to make profit. But we want to look at it from a purpose perspective, that it is not about you, it is not about the, I think stakeholders in this perspective also, I don't know if we call customers stakeholders, yes, but everybody as a stakeholder is incorporated in what is being done, how the products are being developed. We want to be included in this conversation. When Eva is making a product in micro, we want us to participate. When James is making Britam Edge, we want us to participate. We want ourselves to participate in the development so that we can make our world and our society a better place, because I think we evolve a lot. Our lifestyles are not the same in 5 to 3 years. We always want, I think our generation is one generation that I think if mood swings were a person, we would actually be the people. In 5 years, we actually want different things. We're actually not static, so it means my data is always changing. So if you actually insured with you in 2021 and you looked at my risk from this perspective, it does not necessarily mean in 2022 I'm the same person. Maybe there's a term we always say, nimetoka block. So maybe nimetoka block. Actually, for those who don't know, nimetoka block means you've gotten rich or some life has gotten better. Gotten better. So yeah, that's what we want. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh wow, there's a question. Yes, Jim D. Yes. Should Gen Zs be in the boardroom? It's the question.
So there is another place that I go to. It's called the Executive Connect. So there is a lady who approached me and asked and told us that she wants Gen Zs in the boardroom. And the reason why she wants Gen Zs in the boardroom is because she feels like we are the only ones who can talk for ourselves. Because the reason is, and I always wonder why it's difficult, because how we've been raised up, because some of, if not all of you here might be qualifying to be my parent. So, so how I was brought up, and because I've interacted with some people here, I know that's how they brought up their children. I was told because our parents were working, so when you're sick, you actually tell the teacher to give you the phone, and you call me and tell me that I'm not feeling well, and you actually articulate your issues well. Because I remember when we went to the doctor's room, you go with your parent, but she's silent, and the doctor is asking you, how are you feeling? It touches you here, I don't know, how's the fever? And you actually say how you are feeling. So the reason why I feel like Gen Zs should be in the boardroom is because we will actually say how we are feeling. And if we say how we are feeling, then if we have doctors like Tom, doctors like Eva, they'll be able to write the right prescription.
Wow. Well said. That is well said. I think you've had your answer, GMD. And I think we'll be seeing more of Pride in the boardroom from now on, right? So give it up for Pride, and thank you very much. Welcome, NC.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What an insightful conversation. Nimetoka block. Hey man, I thought I knew a lot of slang and sheng, but that one passed me. Nimetoka block. So that's what Gen Zs want, and I tried to take notes. I noted 5 things. They want a transparent future. They want partnership. Tuelewane. Don't tell me what to do. Let's have an understanding here. 3, community impact. They are all about purpose. Profit, they agree profit is great, but let's also have purpose. 4, reach them where they are. Reach them where they are. And finally, not process, but engagement from tech. So don't give them another website to go to. Give them something they can engage in and get some tricks, get something to motivate them. But that's a really good conversation, and I'm happy that this year we fielded a conversation from that demographic, because that's a direction that ESG is all about. ESG is all about inclusion, right? Inclusion. Okay, everything has brought us to this moment. We've been speaking about what happened in 2024. We've gotten the highlights. We've had a fireside chat, including a Gen Z conversation. Now we want to release the actual document, and this document will be available to you. There's a QR code that's on your table. That cute hexagon has a code on one of its corners. So, and the code will also be on the screen so that you can get this in soft. But for now, before I invite Madam Hilda, let's train our eyes to the screen and watch this quick video, then we'll move to the launch moment. Ladies and gentlemen, to come and preside over the Britam Sustainability Report Release 2024, it's now my pleasure to invite Director Legal, Hilda Njeru. Makofi tafadhali. She'll also invite some dignitaries who are going to be coming to the stage.
Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you, everybody who's spoken, who's added their voice to this very exciting conversation. I think we are living in exciting times. And without further ado, I will invite our GMD upstage. I will invite Madam Anne, our regulator. Paris was supposed to guide me on how many people. I will obviously, due to public demand, invite Pride Amos to represent the Gen Z, the future really that we are safeguarding. And then I'll invite our board directors who are present here with us, Director Celestine, Director Julius, Director Dr. Hatta. Please join us upstage for this moment.
All right, when that dummy report gets into the hands of this team, We'll have a countdown from 10. At 10, we'll all give a big applause. So ladies and gentlemen, the Sustainability Report 2024 is going up in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Wapi makofi, shangwe na vigelegele. Asante. While you're still there. All right. Okay. We're going to be signing that in a minute. All right, we are signing the document. We are signing the Sustainability Report 2024. Asante, thank you. Yes, and all the representatives will get to append their signature. Makofi tafadhali. Wapi makofi ya Gen Z? How old were you when you signed a corporate document in a big event? Yes. Please somebody help me remove this from the stage. Let's have one group photo, then the second one with the regulator, IRA, Madam Anne Chelagat and GMD. Asante. Let me have the final photo with Madam Anne, GMD, and Hilda. Thank you. Wapi makofi tafadhali. Asante sana. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to use the QR code. I'll ask that the QR code goes back to the screen so that you can get your own copy of this document, so that you can keep it in your archives, and you can also just go through it in case you want to highlight some things or pick out some of those highlights. This brings us to the end of our event. I think we've used our time very well. Let's appreciate ourselves for good time management, which is also a good leadership skill. This brings us to the closing of our event. It's now my pleasure to invite the vote of thanks and the closing remarks from one of the Britam ESG champions and specialists, Christine Arandi. Wapi makofi ya Christine.
When I was young, because I'm a millennial, I was told for us to have good conversations, you need some whiskey, you need some gin, you need some coffee. But today, one thing that I've learned is, just seeing what has happened here on stage with the different speakers who've come on board, what we've been discussing around our tables, we can actually have really rich and great conversations without whiskey, without gin, or without caffeine. Who says aye? Good morning once again. I picked a number of things today. So my takeaway is thank you, Pride. I used to think gamification is just about games like the kati we used to play or the Jenga. Now I know it's more tech. I really wish to be associated with the young, bold, and fearless. So I was given instructions by Wambu. Christine, please don't speak from the brain, from your head. Read the speech I've written. At attention, millennials, we listen. On behalf of Britam, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to each one of you, whether you're here in the room today or you're joining us virtually. Your participation here is a powerful affirmation of a collective journey towards a future that is more sustainable, more inclusive, and more resilient. So as we reflect on the shared future, one truth stands. The world is shifting, and it's shifting rapidly. And I may dare say, not in a good way. We know what's happening, causing a lot of instability in terms of peace. There's war, there's floods, there are heat waves, there is climate change. And it's no longer a dream, it's no longer hearsay, it's happening right here in our homes, in Kenya, in Malawi, in Mozambique, Rwanda. I'm sure all of us, whether we're in Tanzania or Uganda, we can attest that we've experienced this firsthand. And do you know that for the past 2 decades, 20 years back, if we are counting, we have more than 300 million Africans who've been affected by climate-related diseases. What are we doing in each of our roles as partners, as insurance, as regulators, as customers? How are we pushing to ensure that we are including those who are most vulnerable to risk? Through our sustainability reporting, we are not just unveiling numbers. To be very honest, we are sharing a story of transition, resilience, and collective ambition. It's also setting the pace of what's coming next. From today's fireside chat to the Gen Z spotlight, one message rang clear. The insurance industry of 2050 will be shaped by the decisions we make here, right now, today, as individuals, as a collective group. We need to make decisions on climate inclusion. We need to talk about ethical governance, and we need to talk about how do we serve those that are most vulnerable. Before I close, allow me to give a vote of thanks to a number of stakeholders. First, to our leadership and board of directors, thank you so much for leading from the top and setting the pace. To Britam Eco-Titans represented here in this room, and those online, I know there are many, I've been seeing your chats. our internal sustainability champions across Africa. Your passion is what powers the progress we are making today. To our MC, Eric Muridi, thank you for anchoring today's program with poise and purpose. To cross-functional teams behind the scenes, your excellence is quite the force behind today's success. From facilitating the data that we need, right from the point of collection, sifting through, enhancing the integrity of what we are reporting. I'm talking about the underwriting teams, talking about marketing, HR, legal, governance, finance, procurement, every single Britam member. Without you, we will not have a story to tell. We'll just be focused on the number of policies we are selling. But because of the data that you're reporting and collecting on a daily basis, it's giving us purpose and impact in terms of our story. And to our event partners, True Black, Frontlight Media, Radisson Blue, Belva, Impact Africa Consulting, and our media teams in this room, thank you so much for your creativity, professionalism, and seamless delivery of the dream that we had many months back. It's now come to a reality. Certainly not the least, we started with God, and to God we give the glory for making this day a success. We are all healthy, vibrant, and as I said, there's no need of having that water turned into wine. We are all in the same vision. So finally, I extend a sincere invitation to all our stakeholders, our partners, our customers, our directors, our employees, our regulators, our peers, our communities. Hold us accountable to the commitments we've made here today. Work with us, share our insights, challenge us, inspire us, help us do better. Real impact is never created in isolation. It is nurtured through a shared vision, relentless learning, and consistent action, keeping at it one step at a time. Here's to a more sustainable tomorrow, and guess what? Here's to doing it together, shaping a sustainable future together. Thank you.
Here's to a more sustainable future, and here's to doing it together. As we bring this event to an end, my lingering thought, inspired by Madam Hilda, that sustainability is guided by how we show up every day. And because it's easy to look at Britam, 60-year-old business, top 3 brand in the country, and I mean, turning over a lot of money every year, and say, yeah, you guys need to be responsible, because you're the big boys. But when you think about it, it's really about how we show up every day. And the question comes back to us. What am I doing as Eric to make the world a better place environmentally? When I drive and I buy a bottle of water and I finish taking the water and I throw out the bottle, am I becoming a sustainability champion? When I'm in the matatu and an elderly lady comes or in the bus, I don't know if people do this anymore. Do people still stand up for, am I becoming a sustainability champion? As a leader, as a community leader, am I coming up with leadership and policies that support the majority of the people? I'll leave you with an anecdote from a lady we all admire, the first and only Nobel laureate from, is it from Africa? I think from Africa there's many, but at least from Kenya, Wangari Maathai, who gave the story of the hummingbird. And many of you know it, that in a raging forest fire, there were many animals. The elephant had the opportunity to trample on the fire and maybe use its long, trunk, all right, to fetch water and come and throw it. The giraffe and the buffaloes all had plenty of opportunity to take water with their mouths, but the hummingbird did not stick at the overwhelming situation. She went to the river, took a drop of water with a little big came back, put some in the water, in the fire, did so many trips, because it's the little efforts that we do every day that make an effort. Britam is the elephant, but they're taking action. But I am a hummingbird. What am I doing every day? Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a sustainable 2025. Thank you very much. God bless you and travel well. I'm reminded